Hi, beautiful friends. Laurel Bleadon-Maffei here with Illuminating Souls. It's been about 2 weeks since we had our last coronavirus conversation. And so here we are, May 15th, 2020. We're going to talk about coronavirus, but also other things that are happening energetically and in the world and how we can navigate them. So I had an interesting experience this weekend. You may even notice my energy is different. My energy has shifted a lot since we last spoke. And I will say it hasn't been easy. I've recorded a couple of these, and in them I was upset and rageful and overwhelmed. And I just kept asking the angels for help in navigating this energy and just went within and did my personal work. I worked with forgiveness. I worked with beliefs. I worked with healing at the deepest level. I could find the roots of whatever was causing me to feel such profound upheaval. And then on Sunday, I had an interesting experience. Some of you might remember the work of Karen Bishop. She was a metaphysical writer. She probably still is. I don't mean to make it sound as if she's no longer with us, but she's no longer writing in the same way she once did. And from 2000 till about 2015, she wrote these wonderful energy updates. And she would talk a lot about ascension symptoms and how we would be receiving these waves of light and energy upgrades. In some ways, you could think of them as having your operating system updated. And there would be physical symptoms that would come along with it. Sometimes it might be vertigo, headaches, fatigue, um, uh, nausea, a lot of other things. And there's much more to what she teaches than what I'm reflecting back to you. So this brings me to Sunday. So Sunday, I woke up feeling hungover. I had a terrible headache. My stomach was upset. My legs felt wobbly. I was exhausted. And I don't drink. My last drink was 20 years ago. And I said to my husband, I really feel hungover. Something's happening. It didn't feel like a physical illness, even though I'm reflecting to you the physical symptoms. But intuitively, I immediately connected with the work of Karen Bishop. And I thought, oh, I wonder if we're receiving some energetic upgrades here to assist us in walking through whatever this is. And that's how it felt to me. So I sort of had that intuitive hit as well as the physical symptoms, and immediately everything Karen Bishop had ever written vibrationally was present with me. And one of the things she would teach was about how some of us were ascending to the next dimension. Some of you may think of it as fifth dimension. And that those of us who are choosing to reside in the higher frequencies would be living in parallel with those who chose to remain in denser frequencies. And it would create some chaos and confusion. And another way to think of it is that each one of us gets to choose our reality. Now, reality is what it is, but our perception of reality is within our choosing. So if you choose to have the reality that most people are good and kind and generous, you will draw to you experiences that reflect that to you. It doesn't mean that everyone will be nice to you, but it means that you will be seeing the cup as half full versus people who choose to see the world through a cynic's eyes, where you cannot trust people and people are out for themselves and believing the worst in people. You will have more of those experiences because it is what you are looking for. This is a very simple explanation. So what I was experiencing on Sunday felt like it was an energetic upgrade, like the angels and the beings of light who work with us and my own soul was helping me to find a way to lift above all the chaos that is happening so that I could find center once again. So regarding coronavirus, here is where I think we are. As you know, it is a time of profound chaos, and all of the voices are shouting into the wind their opinions and perspectives and beliefs, and it's noisy out there. You likely have your own intuitive hits around this. Um, And it's important now that we shift to a time of personal empowerment so that you stay connected with what you need to do to stay healthy and alive. I know that sounds so dramatic, but here in the United States, I know many of you are live in other countries, and so you're having your own experience of it. Mine tends to be from the petri dish that is the United States. There's a lot of politics involved, and there is disinformation, and there are conspiracy theories, and people are shouting and angry and want everybody to, I don't know, to hear their voice, and it can be very difficult to find center. So here's where I am personally. Doesn't mean you need to be where I am, but since I've been sharing with you my personal intuitive hits all along, I will share them with you now. Take them with a grain of salt. I still think this is a big deal. I still think we are in the danger zone. I am going to make all the personal choices that I need to make to stay healthy and alive. So I will be limiting my time outside with people. I will be continuing to wear a mask when I am outside with others. I will continue to disinfect and clean things that come into my home. And other people will make other choices. There's a risk reward to this. I do understand the people who are protesting to reopen. I do understand the pressure to reopen. People are suffering because of the economics of all of this. And we do have to find a way to return to some sense of normalcy if we can do so safely. So we're buying time. So the past few months of sheltering in place hopefully have given time to slow the curve, have given those who study such things time to get PPE in place, get our hospital systems ready, for all of us to begin to get in place our disinfectant wipes, boosting our immune system, whatever it is we need to do to be well. So all along, I have been encouraging you to feel empowered in following those wise ones who resonate most with you. I personally am still listening to the scientists. It's not easy because the loudest voices in the room who scream and shout and are come to us through our news channels. Um, it's hard to distill into the truth of things. Science and learning about antibodies and infection rates and all of that is boring. It's dry. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to judge science as boring. This is my own personal experience. It's not nearly as thrilling as watching some highly, produced, slick disinformation video that, gets us all angry and upset and rageful. Um, Sometimes the science is dull and it's boring and it's hard to process, but it's important to know. A couple of tips I'll give you. I really encourage you to find a neutral source to be able to understand what is happening in your specific area. Sorry, my phone is going off. So in my area, I live in Solano County, California. I am monitoring the infection rates. I am monitoring how much testing is happening. I am monitoring how the numbers are changing. Some of us might be living in areas where the infection rate is low. And if it's low, then maybe you feel more secure going out. And I'm hoping you'll wear a mask. I can't tell you what to do, but I'm wearing one, so you do you. If you're living in an area like New York or a place where the infection rate is more substantial, you might make a different choice of staying inside more. Here in Northern California, the weather is beautiful. I'm very fortunate. And I want to add that I recognize that I have privilege in this. I live in a single dwelling home with my husband. We have outdoor area. We have a place for a garden. I work from home anyways, so it hasn't been a huge shift for me to be home more. And not everybody has that choice. So make the best of your situation. Choose into your wisdom. Do not allow others who shout loudly at you to cause you to leave center. Do not feel that you have to get everybody agreeing with you, because that is never going to happen. There will be people on the news every single day and on YouTube and on social media shouting their perspectives. They will be defending their point of view, and it can feel difficult, challenging to try to maintain center when that's happening, especially if some of these people are shouting are friends of yours or family members. I was having this conversation with some friends. It's interesting, when the pandemic documentary came out, so many friends in the wellness community were sharing it and were feeling passionate about it. And it's not my cup of tea. It's not what I believe. It's not my thing. And what I witnessed was a lot of people arguing over this. And, as a consciousness, it's interesting when we get that triggered, right? And in the real world, in my real life, I have friends that I disagree with on things. Amazing, right? Who would have thought? For instance, I'm somebody who was vaccinated as a child, and I still choose to get vaccines. I get a flu vaccine every year. It is my choice, and it's what I choose into. And I know that I have many friends in this community who choose not to get vaccines, who may have chosen not to get their children vaccinated. Do you know I've never once sat across the table from a friend and argued about this? Truth is, I don't even know what your beliefs are around vaccinations. But the truth is, we get to gather together in the love and find the places where we agree. In Rumi's field, beyond the world and the realm of right doing and wrongdoing, there is a field, and I will meet you there. I was raised as a staunch Democrat from Chicago. Shocker, I know. And you may be a Republican who has different political beliefs than I do. But you know what? At the end of the day, I believe we would gather together and say, let's feed the hungry. Let's take care of those who are most vulnerable. Our hearts are in the right place. I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but this rage, this collective rage that is up, is trying to pit us against each other. And I believe that we can agree on more than we disagree on. So I have my personal choice. My personal choice is I'm going to stay home more than I go out. When I go out, I will wear a mask. I am going to steer clear of people who are engaging in what I believe to be dangerous behavior. I have no power over what they choose to do. It's you do you, I'm going to do me. Like, at the end of the day, that's where we're at. We have to take personal responsibility for our safety, for our livelihood, for our lives. I don't know what curriculum you're dealing with. You may make different choices than I do. But let's find a way not to argue and weigh each other down with all of this. It's time that we come into center and we come into our power, reconnecting with our life force and looking for the opportunities to uplift, to inspire, to invoke greater health and well-being. This is what I'm in it for. So there'll be more to come. Thank you for letting me share this with you. I love you very much, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.